Okay, today we're looking at section 1.7, inequalities. Linear inequalities. So we'll use the same steps solving linear equations, clear any fractions. Our answers will be in inequality form or interval form. Recall, when we solve inequalities and we multiply or divide by a negative, the inequality sign flips. So let's look at this. First, let's look at some inequalities. So we're talking x is less than a. So to graph this, we would use a number line. And since it's just less than, we would use a parentheses and go here where this value is a. Here, note by a parentheses. Here, we have a, but note we have equal. So we use a bracket to signify that a is part of the solution, and again, less than. Note the bracket by a. Same principle go in the other direction. If x is strictly greater than a, parentheses, like that. And lastly, if a is greater than or equal, or x is greater than or equal to a. Again, note, no equal, parentheses, equal, bracket. Also note, negative infinity, infinity is always a parentheses, because those numbers actually are not numbers, they're representations. So infinity, negative infinity always has a parentheses. If you have an equal, you have a bracket. So let's see how this works. Solve the inequalities and graph the solution. Write your final answer in interval notation. So we treat this the same way. Distribute the 5, we get 10x minus 15 is greater than 4x plus 6. I'm going to get all the variables on one side, so subtract the 4x. I get 6x. Add 15, greater than 21. Divide by 6, I have x is greater than 7/2. Graph it. We'll have 7/2. Maybe we want to put 0 on here. And we're going greater than, but it's strictly greater than. So parentheses, graph. And in interval notation, our low point is 7/2. It is not part of it. Our high point is positive infinity. Okay, next one here. So let's get rid of these fractions. Find an LCD is 6. So if I multiply 3 by 6, I get 24x minus 3 less than or equal to negative 12 plus 2x. So let's subtract this 2x and I get 22x here. Add 3 less than or equal to 9. X is less than or equal to 9 over 22. Again, looking at our graph, 9/22. Now we have less than or equal to. So we use our bracket and we go less than. Again, our lowest value here is negative infinity. So we use the parentheses. And our highest value is 9/2 or 9/22, and it is included. Okay, so now here we have, we're going to add it to both sides. I have 160 is less than negative 20. X is less than or equal to 200. Now I'm dividing by negative 20. So that gives me negative 8 and negative 10. However, with an x in the middle, when we multiply or divide by a negative, we swap the direction of the sign. So this is saying that x is less than -8, but it's not equal to, and it's greater than or equal to -10. So lowest number is -10, which is included, and -8, which is not. So this brings us to quadratic inequalities. To solve quadratic inequalities, first we set the equation equal to 0 and solve for x. Then we'll set up a number line with fences at these numbers, and then test values on each side of the fence. So let's see what this means. Set this up as x squared minus 7x plus 10 equals 0. So this is x minus 5, x minus 2 equals 0. So x equals 5 or x equals 2. So that means we set up our number line. Now our 0, we have our 2, and we have our 5. Now we have 3 areas to look at here. We have this area here that's less than negative or less than 2. So heck, let's plug in 0. So that gives me 0 squared minus 7 times 0 plus 10 is greater than 0. That is correct. So that tells us that this part is part of the solution. Okay, let's pick a point in here. How about 3? So now we have 3 squared minus 7 times 3 plus 10 is greater than 0. Well, this is 9 minus 21 plus 10, which is -12 plus 10, -2 greater, and that is not true. And so that section is not part. Now, noting that we have strictly greater than in our original equation, we'll use the parentheses. So now let's look at 6. So I have 6 squared minus 7 times 6 plus 10. Is that greater than 0? Well, this is 36 minus 42 plus 10. -6 plus 10, 4 is greater than 0. So we know we're included in this part. And again, bracket, interval notation. Now start over here on the left, I have negative infinity. Always a parentheses. I mean parentheses here, not bracket. Then I go to 2. It's strictly greater than, so no. Now I got to consider this next part. My lowest point is 5. Again, strictly greater than, so parentheses. And it goes on to infinity. And then to signify that any of this is a solution, I add the union. That tells me all of those points within those 2 intervals are the solution. Okay, so again, same principle. 3x squared plus x minus 4 equals 0. I have 3x minus 1. Oops. 3x and x plus 2 minus 2. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's see. -1 plus 4. There we go. I have 3x plus 4 equals 0, and I have x minus 1 equals 0. X equals 1. 3x equals -4 thirds. Oops, 4. Getting ahead of myself. So x equals -4 thirds. Again, I highly recommend, even if it says doesn't say to graph it, I highly recommend graphing. I have -4/3. I have a 0 in here somewhere. And I have my 1. So I have 3 sections. Now note I have equal, so I'll be using brackets. So let's check over here somewhere. -2 would work. 3 times -2 squared plus -2. Is that less than or equal to 4? Well, this is -2 squared is 4. This is 12 plus 4. That is not the case. Okay, my next group is between them from here to here. So use 0. 3 times 0 squared plus 0, is that less than 4? And it is. So what is this telling me? It's telling me brackets, and this section. Now we can go out here and try 2 as well, just to make sure. 3 times 2 squared plus 2, is that less than or equal to 4? So this is 4, this is 12 plus 2, and that is not. So it is in between. We use brackets, so we're going from -4 thirds to 1, and we use brackets to show that those answers are possible solutions. Okay, that is it for this section. Have a good day, and I shall see you next time.